Bugger. Uh-huh. So, you want to repeat that again? Kidding. Um, so anything else you want to add to that?
No, that's all.
That'll do, hey.
Yeah, it's
I
fine for
turned
now.
on the recording and all of a sudden she's shy. Lovely. Thank you, Megan and Anka. Mia, dear, how's your experience been? You look light. You look very light.
Um, well, I messaged you last week and said that I'm really, the yoga and the philosophy is really helping me. Um, and like, okay, of course there's still stuff that I struggle with. Um, and like I've been working on these things before I even joined the yoga thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still difficult.
Yes.
Like the negative bias voice is very difficult to ignore and to not take it as truth.
Yes.
But I have noticed that I I am I'm leaning more towards positivity and like trying to use like with the yin class that we did the weekend. um like the girls know I like the heart chakra and I and like everything, we're not friends, and like I don't like opening up. So
Yes.
then in my yin class I actually took it as my challenge to do um poses and stuff and bring that in, because Carrie and Bianca keep saying you're going to teach from where you are.
Yep.
So yeah, I tried that and it actually went pretty well. So yeah, I am feeling like I'm shifting, but
Yes.
it's a very slow progress.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I think it's very difficult to fall back. Well, to not fall back and listen to that horrible negative bias, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You're not going to, Rome wasn't built in a day.
yeah, no.
So yeah, but you look so much lighter. You look light. And the last two times I've seen you, and it's you say it's hard work and the rest of it, and that it's slow. It doesn't look like it was slow at all. It's looked like a light switch went on. And
Well, the room lights on, so
yeah, so that's a good start actually, especially on Zoom. Um, but you but just reflecting that back to you, there was a moment of change, and that it sits in your face, the energy that comes out of your face, and that it's just so much lighter, and that I think that you'll be surprised that um, the fluctuations might be, a lot of fluctuations, but you're still coming back to light. So that's what and we go back to page 42, the
wait.
Dharma and the Karma, and the Dharma one being, how to come to light.
Hmm.
Everything's on that page. Anytime you're feeling heavy, you just go straight back there. And when you're feeling light enough, then you aim the light that you've created on the shadow. So
Yeah.
it's beautiful. It looks great on you. It
Thank
looks
you.
great on you. So don't, yeah, it's been quite a significant change, looking from the outside.
Thank
So,
you.
and it was that easy, and it was that hard too. So I get it.
Cool. Cool. Okay.
Beautiful. And Marion, any insights, revelations, frequency changes that you just are burning to tell me about?
Does it look that way, Bryan? In front of
Yes, it does. I have my own perception of reality. I add meaning at any point that I possibly can.
No, it's been always going good and well, and a lot of new developments that gets thrown at us and changes. So, but that just sharpens you up to get that frequency on the right level. Otherwise,
Yeah,
we can't take a step forward. To put it
sure.
that way. So,
How are you dealing with
changes are always the challenging part. If you
what's
live
the
in
challenging part? I'm sorry.
the changes coming up, we're moving again. We will move over to Dubai. And it's just to get schools, to get all those kind of things. It's not so easy in this country to get place and to shift it
Mm,
over. And yes, like like I say, try to put your frequency on the top level, and then you start receiving those emails back from the school that yes, there's a place that opened up, or something is happening, or things like that. So
Oh, good.
it's working well. Yes.
How is the physical side for you of yoga?
It is challenging, some pieces. I think due to the fact that I went through an injury for the last 2 years,
Okay.
major knee accident. It wasn't me, it was me and my daughter, and it was so funny. Just the day before she went in for her surgery, I had my knee accident exactly on the same knee. So people told me that was telepathic, you know. I went so deep into her injury and everything, so it caught up with me. But
Yeah, they do talk about sympathy.
I made her recover first, went through physio for 14 months, and then only I went for my surgery. So it took forever. But yes, getting through it, and yeah, it's nice.
Okay.
I love to
And
combine that with the Pilates.
how have you noticed your Pilates voice how is it translating to yoga voice, or is it?
Uh, Maybe not that much yet, but it's getting there.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more yoga feeling and yoga softness and the stretching and the fascia releasing and the more connectiveness, mind and body, that's coming more and more into the Pilates based classes as well.
Okay. Yeah, Ren found that as well. She doesn't teach the same anymore. It's all
Exactly.
hybrids. It's all hybrids.
But
Okay.
I like the way that she's teaching now, and that's maybe one of the main reasons why I'm
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, she's
Not
got
copying her, but just because I enjoy it so much, and it
Mm.
makes me feel physically so nice after doing a class with her. It's just
Beautiful.
for me unbelievable.
Okay, and the philosophy side, does it interest you?
Yes, some parts of it does.
Okay. And applying so have you noticed anything that you've been able to apply, or anything that's been frequency based, or?
Definitely the calmness and the thinking things through, think before you talk, the way to handle people and just to be calm and yeah. I think that came from the yoga side, and it's still coming strongly through. So I enjoy
Beautiful.
it. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, that's exactly what we're looking for. So be it. Okay, so I sent a message to Kamishni. She hasn't listened to it yet, or read it. So I guess we'll just move on. I don't remember if she told me she wasn't going to be here today beforehand. So we'll see. Who would just love?
Ricky as well, I think.
She's there. Oh, right.
Sorry.
No, well done. If I can't see their face, I forget sometimes. Mariki, dear, how is your Wi-Fi?
Good tonight, I think. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Cool.
So, and how has your experience been?
So I mentioned to the ladies on Sunday, my whole yen class was actually based on the metal element, because I had a rather disappointing week last week. And yeah, I went straight back to my intellect and yelling at everybody. It was fun, lots of fun. And yeah, so I struggled quite a bit. Sunday was the turning point for me to get back to what we are learning, and yeah, to implement that. That was great, spending time with everybody, or necessary rather. And yeah, so I'm still not 100% recovered, I think, emotionally, but I think yeah, I am in a good space to recovery. Yeah, it was quite difficult to implement the stuff I've learned, but yeah, Monday, Tuesday was great. Great physical hours for Pilates practice, or well, I had a lot of new clients this week, so that helped quite a bit for the stability of the mindset, if I can put it that way.
Yes.
So yeah,
Just
on the road to recover.
just a quick question. So you had a hard week and Sunday was kind of the turning point.
Yeah.
Do you remember the turning point inside of you? Did you make a decision? Was it random? Was it just time to be over it? Or did you look inside and make a decision of some kind and take some kind of action?
Well, I think we were quite yinned out. We were so relaxed and so chilled. And yeah, I think on my way home, I just decided, you know, what I'm currently doing is not helping the situation at any in any
Stretch
point
of
or
the
way.
imagination. So what did you decide?
So I basically just decided to uh, implement what you taught us.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So what did you do? What helped you?
I went back to meditation.
Yes.
But for longer. So I created a space to meditate for at least 10 minutes instead of 2.
Yep.
And yeah, before my classes, I went about half an hour early to class and then just set my space and meditated for at least 10 minutes.
Okay.
And I think that was basically the thing that got me back on
And
track.
so then you got more, you came back to you had more of an experience of you. So that experience of connecting with you was the thing that shifted you from a lower frequency. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, correct.
Beautiful. Excellent. Well, that's exactly what we're talking about. And you created an intervention for yourself. And that's what you're going to have to do. If you want to apply the transformational human condition concepts, the transformational concepts, then you're going to have to create interventions. You're going to have some sense of lower frequency, that you're not going to feel good about you or your surroundings, and that you assess what's going on and you pick what it is that you're going to do that's going to get you back connected to who you are. Beautiful. Excellent example. Hello, Kamishni.
Hi.
Welcome back to Pretoria.
I'm late. I'm in Benoni.
Like I was saying, welcome back to Benoni.
Okay.
Okay.
Late.
And I was just asking them questions about, they've all spoke now. So if there's anything that they've noticed about their frequency, about frequency changes, about creating an intervention, about anything that they've noticed about their frequency or raising their frequency. Do you have anything to share?
I just had a tough week a few days back at work and a bit stressed out. And then the negative bias set in. And I sort of tried to change the frequency.
And how'd you
I
do?
reminded myself that because I made a mistake at work, I got a warning for it, a verbal warning.
Okay.
I got a verbal warning. I forgot to update something and I got a verbal warning. And then the negative bias set in. And then I thought to myself, you know what? Everybody makes mistakes. And if my kid had to make a mistake, if my daughter had to make a mistake, would I be as harsh on her as I am on myself?
Yes.
And I said, no. Everybody makes mistakes. Yeah.
That's right. So you freed yourself up a little bit from that.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Anything else that you noticed? Not that isn't enough.
I tried to focus on the breathing because the mindset was all, scattered and yeah. So I just tried to focus on the breathing at home and at work and yeah.
Beautiful. Excellent. So, and that just shows you whatever you're attracted to for your interventions is generally what you're interested in as a person. So you usually end up teaching that. You know, it's usually a big part of your yoga teaching is the things that you're attracted to. So don't be surprised if you want to focus on a lot more breathing in your classes. So, and anything else that shows up, we'll see how it unfolds.
Okay.
So who would like to lead us in a short meditation? Oh, yay, Megan would. Good job.
Haven't meditated in a while.
Yay.
Okay, so everybody can close their eyes and sit either cross-legged or your feet on the floor. Gently close your eyes, rest your hands on your lap. Feel your sit bones sinking into the chair. Grow roots through your feet. Take a deep inhale and sigh out. Relax your eyes, relax your jaw, relax your muscles. Take another deep breath in and exhale. Now imagine a beautiful, bright, white light entering through the crown of your head. And as you breathe in, this light just gets brighter and brighter, filling you with love and calmness and serenity. Feel it sinking into every single cell in your body, moving through every single vein, filling you with a sense of calm. Take another deep breath in. And as you breathe in, you draw this light deeper and deeper into your body, surrounding you in a little cocoon. That protects you. Take another deep inhale and exhale. 3 more rounds of breath at your own time. Exhaling any negative feelings, any anxiety, just the feeling of pure love. When you're ready, you can gently open your eyes and keep this feeling of internal love and calmness.
Wow. What happened to you all? What has yin done to you people? It's fantastic. In a couple of weeks, look at the changes. Beautiful. How did you feel you did? I shouldn't have said any of that.
Felt like I was speaking a little bit of rubbish.
Really?
But it was fine. No, I just like hair.
Why? What was your feeling?
No, just like I don't always know what to say, you know. And then I think what I'm saying is a little bit cringe, but anyways.
Yeah. So the idea is if you are, because your voice, you match the tone really well. It's like, it sounds like rubbish to other people when you say some words, but your voice doesn't carry the feeling. And so you actually have to feel the internal love. You actually have to feel the softness. You actually have to feel the breath for it to be in your words. And it really was. So that's the difference. And then, so that if you are feeling like a little bit of an imposter, just feel it first.
Yeah.
You know, allow yourself to feel it, and then you know what it feels like, and then you know that that's the tone you want to hold, because that's the feeling you want them to have. So it looked like you did that because you did it beautifully. So I'm surprised you said that, because it didn't look like you had any question
That's good.
whatsoever of what you were doing.
Thanks.
Absolutely lovely.
Thank you.
Great job. Okay. So we were talking about, what were we, Megan, now that I've got you on the horn, what was our homework?
The sacred me, sacred now, sacred breath.
Okay.
And then also in terms of what we did on Sunday.
Saturday.
Oh, sorry, Saturday. If anything came up for us in terms of about
so anything about projections or about you wrote down
adding
some things.
meaning and things like that.
Say that again.
Also adding meaning.
Yes, exactly. Projection, adding meaning. You wrote down a few things about some patterns in your life.
Yeah, I can't remember what page that was on.
So
Yeah,
did you
but to
guys?
be honest, nothing really, I don't think it's been enough time since nothing really came up for me in the
Okay.
space of Saturday till today.
Yeah. And did you think about your patterns at all?
Yeah, I did.
And did you notice what must you be adding? Here's the question. When you notice a pattern, you might want to write this down with your pattern stuff. When you notice a pattern, what must I believe that I keep, what must I believe about me or the world that I keep looking through the same filter? I keep seeing the same thing. What is my belief?
Can you repeat that, please, Bryan?
Yeah. So if you notice that there's patterns in your life, there's negative interpretations and negative patterns that you keep creating, what must you believe? What do you believe about you and what do you believe about the world that's your filter that you look through? That's the meaning that you add.
You're not asking me that, are you?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
You're asking you that
Yeah.
silently. I'm not going to put you out there, Megan. I'm not going to. I make you read all the time. I think that's enough.
Sorry, Bryan, can you repeat that question again? What must you believe?
What must you believe? So when you've identified a pattern in your life that the same thing keeps happening over and over and over and over and over again.
Okay.
So if it's something that you're adding, it's happening to you, you have that perception of reality because you're adding that meaning in the moment. That means you already believe something about yourself or about the world or both. So what must you be believing? What do you believe about yourself and what do you believe about the world if you keep seeing the same thing? For example, if I keep having, what's a good one? If people keep taking advantage of me in a similar way, like I have a story like, well, you meet people and they're friends or lovers, and then in a short amount of time, they start taking advantage of me and, people suck. That's my story. So, but if it's a pattern, then it probably says more about me than it does about other people. So what must I be believing about the world? So I would go, well, people are, people are bad. People are interested in taking advantage. So that would be something that I'm believing. And then you question that for validity. Is that actually true? Is that true that that's the way people are? Or am I just lax in expectations and boundaries? Do I telegraph to people that, I give and I give and I give and I give, and then so they end up taking? You can train people to act certain ways. So the common denominator is you. Like when somebody says that in their relationships, the opposite sex, the last 7 people have done the same thing, the common denominator is you. So what have you done to be able to create that pattern? What involvement do you have? If the pattern keeps happening again and again and again, it's generally more about you. And the patterns are the easiest place to see what you're adding into the moment, to see what your beliefs are, so that you can see what meanings you're adding. So it's easier to find how you're creating your negative perception of reality. Does that all make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to give you a minute to just look
My
at that.
experience.
Yeah. Excuse me?
Can I share my experience
Sure.
of a negative pattern?
Yep.
Okay, previously when things used to get difficult, maybe at work or any life situation, I used to quit.
Why?
Because I don't know, I just thought that maybe I can't handle it.
There you go.
And so I used to quit.
Yep.
I used to take a break and then
And avoid.
find that sometimes then I used to find that the universe will put me back in that same space. And
Yes, it will.
yeah, so there is no quitting. I just have to go with it, like, ride that wave.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
there's these kinds of issues in life, oftentimes life doesn't let you go around. You have to go through to get onto the other side. So yes.
so like yesterday when I got that verbal warning, so I felt like quitting. I just thought, what, maybe I should just hand in my resignation and
And why didn't you?
quit. What's that?
Why didn't you hand in your resignation? I'm not suggesting you do. I'm curious.
No, I know.
Just making sure.
It was like one mistake that I don't know.
Well, it was well, you do know because you didn't do it. So you didn't quit because you lightened up on yourself and that you decided that it was only one mistake so that it wasn't that big of a deal and you needed just to keep going. More or less like that?
Yeah.
Just in case you have any doubts about that. You almost quit again. Okay. All right. So yeah, so staying with it. And there's a belief under there. There's a belief about that. Can you handle it? Are you good enough? Or, if when life gets hard, sometimes you run, and life is definitely going to make sure that you have to deal with what's going on in front of you. So is that not true?
That's what I used to do.
Yeah.
The fight or flight response. I used to
Yes.
take the fight response. I used to run away from things.
Okay. But you were really quick though, right? So, okay, good. So I'm glad that you didn't do that. But that's the kind of stuff we're talking about. That's the pattern. So there's a negative situation. There's the negative bias that is a belief that in this case it meant something about me and that I might not be good enough and I might not be able to handle this. And I don't like the negative experience. I don't like, I don't know how to process it. I don't know how to get perspective. In this case, the perspective, how you got perspective, he says it was just a small mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. I'm going to lighten up and keep going. So, and that's changing perspective. That's challenging the belief. That's challenging the validity of it and impacting the pattern. So that's exactly what you're supposed to be doing. These are the kinds of things that we want to be teaching people in yoga, is that the more you learn yourself, when people come into your class and that you can feel stuff's going on there, then you have something to say to it. And that you also know what kind of meditation you want to do. A really big part of what's the most powerful parts of yoga are I'm for lack of a better word coming to my mind, the frills or the intangibles, is that giving good reception. When people come in and being able to relate to them when they come in, being able to be authentic, to be able to actually have them have a sense of calm, for them to feel like this, they're going to let go there, and that they're trusting you, and that it's safe, that they can feel whatever they're feeling, that you can identify that people like, you can just see on the surface of them if they're stressed or if there's stuff going on. You can even ask them and say, would you like a particular kind of meditation today? And then at the end of the class, oftentimes people want to talk to you about what's going on with them, and that you can give them, you can sense about what's going on with them, and you can also give them a little bit of direction about how to ground, how to meditate, what kind of interventions that you have, what their options are, what it is that they can read. So these are the kinds of intangibles that make, because all yoga is more or less the same. All yoga is based on hatha yoga, which was the original yoga in about 5,000 postures. And then it evolved from there into vinyasas and yin and all kinds of things. But it's like, there's popular yoga today and everybody's more or less dealing with the same languaging, and the same postures to different repertoire. People have different ideas around repertoire. So that's more or less the same. Then there's your personality and your charm and your calmness, which is important. So that's, you know, to giving good reception on the way in and the way out. Being able to feel like where they are so that you can actually present like the beginnings meditation and the shavasana in a way that it's impacting them. And probably the most important one I would say is hands-on. I don't just mean corrections. I mean when they're on the mat at the end of the class. Sometimes if you have a shavasana in the middle of the class, that you touch their shoulders. That when they're in child's pose, being able to push on their back a little bit. That stuff right there can make the absolute difference. No other exercise that I know that people do that where people do that, and it's a huge experience for most people just to get a couple seconds of relief in the middle of, you know, hard work. It's a beautiful thing. So that's you know, that's the point of doing the, you know, that's what the knock on that we do so much philosophy in the course, and you really don't have that much time with people, and not everybody wants to talk about their stuff in the reception on the way out, but you'll be surprised how many people do. And you'll be surprised when you start talking to somebody how many other people listen and how many other people then want to have a conversation with you. So don't underestimate that what it is that you learned definitely is useful to everybody that actually comes to your class. And the hands-on stuff, I have to re-emphasize that as well. So those are the kind of intangibles that really make the difference between a good instructor and a great instructor. Okay. Anything, I'm going to give you a moment just to look at your patterns, and then being able to look at what you must be believing. You know, in the Course in Miracles, that picture that I sent you is we already know the world that we believe in. We see it, and we see it as it unfolds. So we already know what world we believe in, and as it unfolds, we add our meaning. We go, oh, that's that, and this is this, and that is that, and it's based on something. It's instant meaning that gets added. So you already have a world that you believe in. There's already something that you think should be expected in any given moment. So that's a belief, and these are the things what we're looking for with our negative bias, and our patterns is the easiest place to start discovering this. So I'll give you a moment now to try and get in touch with, if that is your pattern, what must you be believing about yourself or the world or both? Generally, it's going to be, what is the lack? What is the lack in me? Or what is the lack in the world? What am I not trusting in? That's another way to get to it. If this is my pattern, if this is my belief, what do I not trust in? So I'm not going to ask you any questions about this, so stop worrying. Just in case you were. So just finish up. Any other, what am I not trusting in? Has everybody got something that have you filled in the blank? What am I not trusting in? What is the lack? What is the meaning that I have about me or the world? Has everybody been able to fill in that blank in some kind of way in regards to their patterns of what they must be believing? Show of hands. I've got something.
Yes,
Okay,
for
good.
me.
Okay, good. Let me silence my phone. So we have philosophy again tomorrow. Today's the 16th, right? Yeah, we have philosophy tomorrow. I knew that. And then on the 19th. Okay, so I have to start planning these out. Okay. All right, so get out your manuals. Page 46 and 47 again. So Mariki, I think we'll start with you. So on page 47, we have what we call the ladder of inference. What's more or less, what do you remember about the tool and what the point is and any other kind of details that you remember?
Okay, so for me, the main thing was to add meaning and what my basically assumptions that I make when other people react or address me or talk to me, and what I feel during that specific phase of that ladder. And it was my plan to focus on my peership this week. I didn't get so far within the last 2 days, or 3 days. I'll definitely give it a go the rest of the week. So yeah, basically, as Anke said last, so making growth choices instead of fear choices, or having learning conversations instead of winning conversations.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I just wanted to say something. You just reminded me of something that I haven't said. So when people are being superior, anything that people need to prove that they are, I need to prove that I'm superior. I need to prove that I'm fearless. I need to prove that I'm attractive. I need to prove whatever it is people are trying to prove in life. Is the truth of it is, it's really kind of interesting when you understand the dynamics of that. So I know some guys that had to really prove that they weren't afraid of anything. So they had to jump off stuff and they had to get themselves into dicey situations so that they could prove to themselves that they weren't afraid. And what it really means is whatever people have to prove, and when you said being a peer, a lot of people need to prove that they're superior. The only thing that our ego needs to prove, and to the same degree, is what it is that we are afraid that we're not. So when people think that they're not good enough, then they have to go out of their way to prove that they're superior or they're better than. So, and people that have to prove that they're not afraid is to the degree that they're afraid that they're not. So the people in your life that are a little bit forceful and a little bit pushy in certain situations, competitive, wanting to be better than other people in certain situations, it's because they need to prove to themselves what their value or worth is, because they're afraid to the same degree, not more, not less, to the same degree that they aren't something, that they're not good enough, that they're not something. So does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
It helps you be able to understand what people are doing. When people are driving you a little bit crazy and you're trying to, you get a little bit tired of, whatever moves that they're doing, they create interesting situations to be able to be superior or not to be afraid, or, in not very bright men's circles, that they will get into somebody else's space and dominate and make them lesser than and make them less of a man. And they feel like they get something out of that. That if I'm able to take that from him, that must mean I'm that much better. And it's a lie.
There's a lot of people that act that way.
Absolutely. It is the dominant paradigm for sure. So, and it's also interestingly enough that you do your yoga teacher training in the middle of this event that's happening in the world. And a very large part of this event is about people being able to see what's actually going on in the world, to see who they are, to have insights. The things that are going on in the world have always been going on. They're just much more visible. If you look at the spiritual aspect of it, is 2020 is 2020 vision. We're actually able to see what's going on. The veil is thinning and we're starting to see what's going on behind the scenes. Like Epstein's Island, whatever's going on with politics, all of the stuff there's so much stuff happening right now. And depending on what your interpretation of what that is interesting. Like if it's a fear-based interpretation, or if it's that there's some crappy things happening, but people are waking up and they're no longer going to be able to get away with this, or people's view is that it's fear-based and we need to be afraid. One of the two. So the point of that was peership is being, that's why we want to be peers with everybody. Because the second we think that we're superior is that we think we're better than other people. And it's not true, and it's also ego-based. Good ideas can come from anywhere, and that the more ideas that you can get, and wherever they come from, somebody can contribute to the greater whole. So it's really being able to leave a space for that. And in regards to action and business, how it used to be is we chose our leaders based on those who could sway the group to their way of thinking. The new leaders are those who can create the conditions where learning occurs, where people can work together, where there's more room, instead of dominating everybody because I have the best ideas, or that I'm better at controlling the group, or I'm better at creating fear. And that it's still one-dimensional thinking, like it's usually a very small group of people that are making the real important decisions. When it comes to the leaders being somebody that creates the conditions where learning occurs, then it's about incorporating the best ideas from everybody. And I talked a little bit about that in a corporate situation where we got them to look at what they were trying to create and what they were trying to avoid, as opposed to just competing at the level of strategy. Well, my strategy is better than your strategy, and here's the reasons why, and being stuck in debate. Thanks, Mariki. Okay, so in regards to the right-hand column, discussions, ego, behaviors, superiority, making inferences and making judgments. Who wants to just give me any kind of details? You can look at your page. Just let me know what's the point? How do you use the tool? How is it useful? Who wants to give that a wing? Quick show of hands. Only one of you, just one. Some of you have to put your hand down. There can only be one. There we go.
Okay. I did quickly have a read through this before our lesson today, or before.
Cool.
well, we train to, and from school and kindergarten, to be first, best, and right.
Yes.
And that, we need to win every debate, and everything's about winning and being number one.
Yes.
And like you said, trying to control the group. You're the only one that makes decisions, and especially in a workspace. And we also need to understand. It's also will bring just our reality across in everything, and not be open to other people's reality. So
because they're in competition. It's either or. Absolutely. Yes.
You actually only dealing with it's a one-way conversation basically that you're having with, and it's only your reality that counts.
Right. 7 one-way conversations.
7?
Well, however many people are in the group.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. And then I've got the making judgment. Yeah, drinking poison to hurt other people.
Yes.
Yeah, we traditionally believe that we can make others wrong enough if we criticize them often enough. Yeah.
Yeah. So we irrationally believe that if we can just make others wrong enough, if we criticize them often enough, they'll change their actions. We expect others, if they're smart, to see it in their best interest, to take direction on what we see as their definitive, proper, but absent behavior. But we do not do that when they judge us. That's the last thing we want to do is go, oh, tell me how you're judging me and how I need to change. We are not doing that, but we definitely expect it from other people. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, and it's just the tools are just to be able to keep your eye on every conflict is somebody is superior in the room. Somebody knows the right way it needs to be, and that, and not just the right way, but it's like really important to them that something is a particular way, and it doesn't leave room for other people to get their way as well. It's just either or. Making inferences that we talked about that we're constantly adding meaning. So it's probably a good idea to realize what meaning you're adding. If you're adding stuff to the moment that's causing you pain in your life, that is having you not live your best life, it's probably a good idea to know what that is. We have a thought process. It's probably a good idea to be the master of it, especially if it's shaping our lives. So when we talk about the negative bias, which is automated, that's shaping our life. So if we're not conscious to the energy that we're putting out from a place of lack, and that's the energy we put out, and that's the energy the universe gives us back, that's our life. That's what you're living, you're living your life. The second I found out that I wasn't in control of my life, that there was an inner dialogue that was automated, and based on the things I didn't want to have happen, were affecting some of the results and some of the life that I was creating and the patterns I was creating for myself, to hell or high water, I wasn't going to stand for that. So that's what really started my journey of no way, this is mine. And that hasn't stopped. I'm still working on it. And then the last one, making judgments. No one sees themselves as attacking others. They see themselves as protecting or defending what's right or best for all. So we definitely see, of course we do. It's based on my reality. It's based on my values. It's based on my strategy. Of course, I'm not going to make a bad strategy. I'm going to make a good one. But the problem is we don't realize that there's 7.5 billion perceptions of reality, values, and strategies, and that you can incorporate all of them, or at least most of them. And in many cases, all of them. So beautiful. Who would like to, thank you, Anka. So who would like to do the second column, the dialogue behaviors, just giving us a general idea of what that is, and how to use the tool, what the benefits are. Quick show of hands. Of course, sure. Thank you, Kamishni. Oh, 2 hands. Mia, I'm going to take Mia. Mia doesn't talk all the time. Yay, Mia.
Oh no. Should have just
Saved by
waited
the-
a few seconds.
Saved by the bell, Kamishni. Saved by the bell.
Okay, so the left hand side is about peership, where you allow for all realities.
Yes.
And you don't take anything as wrong or right, but you take everyone's realities into consideration.
Yes.
And then
Let me add something to that. Sorry to interrupt, but this is an important point. If somebody is off base, so their reality can be crazy stuff. It can be, I think that the moon is made of green cheese, and that, you know, everybody else in the room's going, well, that's not our experience. If you're having a dialogue, people aren't trying to shut you down. People are giving you their reflection. And if 7 people are honestly just trying to tell you what the feedback is, you know, in a dialogue, that's something you might want to consider, and you're given the room to do so. But don't expect that you're applying that. If 7 people in the group are like, no, we're not really down with that, then you have to take a look at that. Okay, sorry, keep going.
Well, if I can carry on with your idea of the moon is made of green cheese, then I would ask you, when you said that the moon is made of green cheese, did you mean that it is actually made of green cheese?
Yes, I would ask that. And I would also ask, why do you think that?
Yes.
Where did that information come from?
Make an inquiry to what the person's saying, to better understand their reality.
Yes.
Not that you're taking it on as your own, you're just trying to understand where they're coming from.
Yes.
And then the suspending judgment. So this is where I got lost. I don't know why did I circle that? Okay, so you stop yourself from judging, like you notice when you're judging, and then as that thought process is happening, you tell yourself, hold up, why am I judging this? Like, do I have enough information on it? Or is this something that do I feel attacked? Does it affect me personally, whatever the person is doing or saying or whatever?
Yes. Also with suspending judgment is that when you're listening to somebody speak and you go, in your head, you're going, that is the most retarded thing I think I've ever heard. And you're actually thinking that, and then suspending it is not, even though you thought it, is you suspend it. You go, okay, well, I don't know where this is going. I'm going to put my judgment over there, and I'm going to deal with them like this is going somewhere, or that they have a contribution, or either I'm going to learn something, they're going to learn something, or we're both going to learn something. And that it's a lot easier for people to hear what you're saying, because usually when we're judging them, we're being condescending and we're shutting them down. Okay, but you skipped one. So cleaning your perceptions. What do you have to say about that one?
Oh no, but that was the one about the moon being cheese.
Oh,
like, I would ask you why.
Oh, yeah.
And
okay.
how and where did you get your information from? I would inquire.
Yes. Okay, so, and it's also, but cleaning your perceptions is when you think something about somebody else, when you think something about the world, when you think something is inevitable, when you think that you know what somebody's means by their words or what their intentions are, instead of just running with that, what you do is you test your thinking. So cleaning your perceptions is based on, oh, so that when this is what I'm thinking, or this is what I think that you said, this is what I think your intentions are, this is what I'm
this is what I understood.
Yes. You can even say, if you're really brave, I'm afraid this is what you're saying. My concern, my fear would be that this is what you mean. And that's even more truth. So it gives them, they can go, oh, why? If it is accurate, or they go, oh, no, that's not what I'm thinking at all. Because it makes it easier for them to go, this is what I'm afraid you're saying. If they're not saying that, it really makes them easy to tell you, because they understand why you're saying it. Okay, anything else you want to add to there? Peership, cleaning your perceptions, or suspending judgment?
No.
Nope. Okay, good. So all of this stuff is based on how it's a toolkit. It's just constantly to be seeing. We all have had the experience of when somebody goes, you say something to them and they go, how can you say that to me? and you didn't mean anything by it. So it's really easy to see when somebody else is adding meaning. What you want to figure out is where you're adding meaning. You want to figure out where you're, especially if it's fearful, especially if it's defensive, is that being able to calm yourself down and then be able to ask and own your own fears and not being afraid. Have it be okay that people are doing something different than what you're doing, or that doesn't allow for your set of perceptions, etc. Okay, and then lastly, the written part. Who would like to just give, you can read the part at the bottom by Viktor E. Frankl, and then more or less tell us about what that means. Kamishni.
Okay, I'll read it. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom.
So what does that mean?
Basically, it means rather than reacting to something, take some time out and then you can respond rather than react.
Yes. So not knee-jerk, fearful, upset reactions, is that you stop and you think about it and then you go, what question can I ask? So what question can I ask to be able, like, do I have a reaction? What is my fear? I'm afraid that if we do what they're suggesting, something bad is going to happen. So that you can test, okay, so what you're saying is X. You know, do you, you know, this is the thing that I think is important. You know, do you think that, are we able to deal with that as well? And if they go, yes, there's no problem, for example. So definitely being more, less automated. Our reactions are automated. Our knee-jerk reactions are automated. What's in them is the trauma from history, that we see it happening again in our negative bias, and that we react to it like that is what's happening. And even if that is what they're thinking, they might be willing to compromise a little bit on, or include something that you want, instead of it having it be reactive. And you know, people have fights about things most often, when it could be just a matter of understanding to be able to incorporate something if they had that inclination, as opposed to just win-lose. And it's amazing that how most arguments and upsets can be very easily dealt with when you look at whether it's a problem or not, or just a difference. And if you've got social agreements that people are looking to incorporate everybody's difference, values, strategies, end results, and what they want to avoid, it's amazing how often you can actually come to solution, as opposed to either or conversations. When I told you about that project where the old people were going to die or the young people were going to die, and nobody actually noticed that the skin of the fruit was for the old people and the seeds of the fruit were for the young people, and also the fruit, the meat of it, had a use as well. And that they were eliminating that, you know, no, we need the fruit, and you could actually use the meat for whatever you needed. You could use the skin for that group and the seeds for that group, and everybody was fine. And everybody missed that in the brief. It's fascinating. The younger, like, people really get into it when it's the younger they are, but we have done it corporately, and it's, you know, they don't really believe in mock situations as much as high school or university students will definitely put their back into it, especially if they think there's a lot of marks in it. Okay. Now we're going to change to page 48. And it's virtually Samkhya Yoga is a much more complicated, it's old, it's version of what's on page 46 and 47. It's exactly that, but it's in a much more complicated model. It's difficult to apply.
Brian?
Yep.
Marcia's trying to join the.
Oh yeah, I see it now.
Sorry.
No, perfect. Thank you.
Just noticed it now.
Hello, Marcia.
Hello.
Sorry, I don't know how long you were waiting there, but sorry that you had to wait. We're on
This-
page 48.
Thanks, Bryan.
We just reviewed page 46 and 47, which is about adding meaning. And now we're looking at page 48, which is the yoga associated with adding meaning. It's a much bigger model. It's quite complicated. So we're not going to talk. It's quite a large and thorough model. Some people see this model dualistic, and some people, like myself and Bryan, don't believe in duality. So at the very top, you have two circles. One's Purusha and one is Prakriti. And one is more or less creation unmanifest, which a lot of the Samkhya practitioners believe that it's the only pure creation. And as soon as it becomes into Prakriti, it's when God consciousness becomes things, molecules, trees, planets, things. And they see it, like in some of them, they actually even see it as an impurity. So they look at the creation. Now I see both of these things in one circle. The Purusha and Prakriti are one thing. There is only one thing. That's what makes it non-dualistic in my mind. Why some people think it's dualistic, because they see a difference between Purusha and Prakriti. So directly below that is the human intellect, or but it's at the cosmic intellect. It's or the Buddha intellect. So it's it's really the understanding of all that is, that all of us have some access to, even if it's veiled. So Amakar, which I've seen spelt a few different ways. That is the ego. So virtually Purusha turns into Prakriti. Prakriti, which is form and action, turns into the great, what's above, what's just below that is the cosmic intellect. What's below that is the ego. So the inner dialogue, the ego, which is a lot of things. There's some positive things to ego. There's some negative things to ego. And the negative things, the only part of the ego you really need to worry about is your fears. Your ego is doing other things that is just fine. So that's what becomes, that's below the Buddha, the cosmic intellect. Then we have what would be the human ego. And then we're going into the gunas underneath that. So it's three different kinds of energies. Everything is one of the three gunas, the three energies of life. Sattva is like bliss. It's seen as the desired state. It's a heightened state. It's a beautiful state. It's the sacred state. It's connected to everything. Like all of these things, like to give an idea of how we would relate to them, would be sattva food would be like very pure food, very fresh food, that's good for you. In most of the philosophies, the people that are following this would be vegetarian, if not all of them. But that gives you an idea of bliss. Then the next
Right.
one is, hello?
Hi. Are you
Hello?
a vegetarian?
I'm not vegetarian.
Okay.
So then the next one is rahas, and that is passion. So, and you kind of need to keep your eye on passion. Is there's, when we're running around in our modern day society, rushing from job to picking up the kids to going to yoga and then rushing home to make food, and the frenetic action of life is raha. Passion, where you're passionate about, dance or lovemaking or food or whatever it is, you kind of need to keep an eye on, that it's staying within a balance. So it can still be blissful. It can be sattva. So Raha points to that it's a little bit too much in some kind of way. It's a little bit out of balance. The kind of food that it would represent is spicy food. And then the last one is tamas, is the last energy, and it refers to, and all of these are positive and negative. So the tamas, the negative is that with food, for example, it's old food, it's food that's going off, that's food that's probably not that good for you, fast food, food that makes you sleepy, food that makes you heavy. So tamas, but tamas is also rest or sleep or death. So it is, or the entropy of death. Like when, if food is, turning a little bit green, that's tamas. Now what Sem is, it means number. It actually means number. Samkhya or Samkhya. I've heard it pronounced both ways. And it means number. And the reason why it's number is because they're actually talking about the number of realities. So when we're talking about adding meaning, we make it very simple. If you're adding meaning and it's fear-based, we want to keep an eye on that. And we've got all the models on page 46 and 47 of what you need to do for that. And we don't really look at too much what senses we're using to be able to experience that. Where is it coming from? Where am I feeling this from? So there, according to Samkhya Yoga, there are 25 realities. 24 of them are these senses. So we're using the mind, body, senses to be able to experience the world. So so under the sattva, the 5 senses, faculties, the organs of cognition, the ears, skin, eyes, tongue, nose. Each one of those they see as a reality. They see of a way of processing the world. So they've broke it down into each one of these 24. So there's 24 of these. And there's 5 of them. The organs of action. So that's the mouth, the hands, the feet, the reproductive organs, excretion organs. It's organic. The mind, it's an organ of truth, action, and cognition. So each one of those that they're seeing as a perception of reality. I see it personally as a tool, as how we're assessing our reality, but I've really not found much need to break it down into, I know what I'm feeling. I haven't really found it that beneficial to find out which one of my senses and which series of senses did I realize that from. So then we got sound. Oh, this is also related to the 5 in the, this is different than the yin yoga. It's different elements. So under sound is ether, touch is air, sight is fire, taste is water, and smell is earth. So each one of those make up 24 of the realities. Samkhya Yoga means number and number of realities. And then the 25th reality is a reality that we will never be able to comprehend as are the beings that we are, because it's Prusha. It's the absolute truth of what is. And it's unattainable by us, in this model. So that's it. That's the model. It's a complicated model. It's like I said, it's designed for monks. It's in a community where they have a community of practice. They have things to actually have you understand what these things are. Page 46 and 47 is a much more abbreviated, thousands of years later model that I'm still working with that model after 3 decades. So it keeps on working and being useful. So I only discovered Samkhya yoga in the last, I don't know, 7 or 8 years. So I didn't learn it that way, and it looks a lot more difficult to me. Any questions about that? It's just so that you have an idea of what the yoga terms are. This is the human condition, modern, transformational toolkit, and this is the ancient one. Go ahead, Megan.
Can you just repeat what Purusha means?
Purusha is the unmanifest creation. So it's
Okay.
the energy of God that's unmanifest and pure. So whether it's just pure consciousness, let's see what they say here, is an unmanifested, formless, passive, beyond attributes, beyond cause and effect, space and time. Yeah, so it's just not, nothing's manifest there. Whatever pure God creation is, that's that. They've made a distinction that's different. Yeah.
And then the no, that's things. So like God and
Prakriti. So soon as that creation is creating something other than just pure consciousness, then it's actually becomes something.
Okay.
Prakriti is the creative force of action, the source of form, the source of form. So form comes from here, so that Purusha gets pushed through the filter of Prakriti, and it creates form, manifestation, attributes, and the nature of Mahat is the cosmic intelligence of Buddha.
Thank you.
Bryan, I also have a question. I'm not, 24 is everything together?
Yeah, all of the, on the very bottom. No, on the very bottom, there's 24 there. There's 20.
I don't get to 24.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I've got 23.
Oh, you counting sound and ether, touch?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. I just thought my math skills had left me.
Yeah. Mine did too. I only found 23, but there's a 24th one there.
Well, it's probably mind is probably 2 somehow.
Yeah, it might be 2 as well. So no, I counted as 3. So an organ of both action and cognition. So no, I counted as 2. So that's the thing, is they see all of these filters as different realities, and that you're obviously taking in information from there, and that it does have an Ayurveda, it does have its uses. Like, you know, if somebody's not speaking their truth and it's their throat chakra, for example, that's, you know, oftentimes when people start investigating people who get cancer of the throat, is that they're also not saying that they're cut off at the throat level. They're not saying what their truth is. So it has its uses in being able to figure out what the relationship is, because each one of these have organs, each one of these have energies. There's a lot involved in all of this, and Ayurveda is really quite detailed material. So that's what this leads into. Any other questions about this? It's not a model I use. I find it complicated. I find it interesting. If you want to learn more about the gunas, in our podcasts, Bryan is talking about the gunas. I think he calls it the 3 energies. And I don't know if it's 1 audio or 3, but I think it's the 3, and I think it's called the 3 energies of life. And it is in our YouTube channel for the source. I've also got another channel that's coming out that's cleaned up a little bit better than the source one, which just has all the transformational stuff on it. And that's Bryan McDonnell at the source, or Bryan Mac at the source, Bryan McDonnell. I'll send you that. If you're interested, just ask me for it and I'll put it on group. Okay, so you can see what the equivalent is. Now it'd be much easier. There's lots of people that don't understand what Samkhya Yoga is, but when you understand what page 46 and 47 is, then you can understand what Samkhya Yoga is. Much easier. You had a question, Maya?
But it's not on topic. you
Okay.
you posted on the group that like some fire thing. What is that
Yes.
about? Am I
Oh,
allowed to ask this? I'm
good
sorry.
question. No,
Now
it's fine.
my head.
We have something that when it's warm enough outside, we have something that's called Fire Jam, which is just virtually a bonfire in the courtyard, and we put all the chairs and couches around and stuff. And then I have as many people that have instruments bring their guitars and that kind of stuff, and we usually have a guy that brings the double bass. Dum, 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 dum. So we do that for the evening, and the next one we haven't had it. This is the first one of this spring, is October 3rd, which is in 2 Saturdays, I think.
Sorry.
And you're all invited.
Okay, great. Because like no one asked, and I was curious, and you just reminded me.
I love your curiosity.
Great.
I think that's amazing. I think you should continue with that. Okay. Now, how much time do we have? Oh my gosh. So the next date is Saturday, right? No, tomorrow. We need another little bite size.
This is obviously a topic that I mean, we just like scratching the absolute surface
of the Samkhya yoga.
Yeah. So I mean, this probably just could be hours and hours of discussion.
But really what it comes down to, it really does come down to page 46 and 47. I don't care. Like all the people that I've seen teach this model and tell you what it means. There's no practice. They don't go, okay, this is how you use it in your life. Okay. It's just virtually intellectual property. This is Prusha. This is Prakriti. Here's some distinctions between them and how they relate together. And virtually, I haven't seen anybody teach you how to use it in your life. So that's what page 46 and 47 is you know exactly how to use it in your life. And that's generally the point of page 48. So yeah, and the other thing, the interesting thing
Bryan?
is that Megan, I mean, Mariki?
No, the other M.
Okay.
But in one of the philosophy sessions with Bianca, so she touched on the sattva, rajas, tamas concepts.
Which ones?
The sattva, rajas,
yeah,
she
the
said,
gunas.
she said,
the gunas.
yeah,
The gunas,
yeah, yeah. So she touched on those and kind of was putting it in the context of, like you saying that this model, no one shows you how to practice it, but she was kind of putting it in the context of like how to eat, how to find balance.
Yes. The gunas are, the Samkhya yoga takes all of these things and puts them together. The gunas are used separately.
Okay.
So the gunas are part of this model, but the gunas are used all over the show and most of the time just by themselves. And you could use that, like I said, that Bryan has a lot to say about them in the if you want to look at the gunas, but it's not Samkhya yoga. Most people have never heard of Samkhya yoga. They have no idea what it is. Is that I had to go find it, and I looked in that somewhere I read online that there's no school in India that currently teaches Samkhya yoga, that teaches you how to use it. Or there's people that I've talked to people that have gone to India and gone to some philosophy classes, and they had absolutely no idea what they were talking about. So I don't find that particularly useful. Everything I do is about practicality. You understand what it is. You understand how to map it onto your life and your inner world, your inner dialogue, and you actually have that you can do something with it. You can change the freedom and joy in your life with the tools. You can raise your frequency with the tools. So that's one of my problems with a lot of yoga, is that it's a lot of intellectual information that people aren't applying. Has no use for me. I want to know, I want to be able to have my hands on the levers and dials of what it means to be human, what it means to be me, and what it means to have a purpose, and to be able to manage my own fears and frequency. So yeah, there's a lot of material about, especially about the gunas. And I really enjoyed the conversation with Bryan about that. So you might want to have a listen to that one. Thank you, Marcia. Okay. And then we're going to save duality and non-duality for Saturday. So that's
Saturday or tomorrow?
say that you broke up, Kamishni?
Saturday or tomorrow?
Saturday. We got 3 hours on Saturday. We're going to need it.
Oh, okay.
So, I think I'm just going to go to, got a half an hour ish. We might want to start this now. Okay. We're going to go to page, so that's Saturday. We have one more after Saturday, right? And we have one more. Oh, we have 2 more sessions then. One on Saturday and one on the last day. Okay, we got quite a few sessions. Okay, so I don't have to quite do that yet. Okay, no rushing with stuff. All right, so on page 42, I think. Yes. So having a practice. So on the left-hand karma with the Dharma, who wants to let me know what the tools are and what more or less the practice is? What's the utility? How do you use it? And any details you can remember, just anything that you want. It's either Marion or Marcia. I don't know which.
Sorry, what page are we on, Bryan?
Say that again.
What page?
42.
42, okay.
Having a practice. Marion cannot contain herself. She has so much raha passion about this. I'm just going to let her do it. I'll acquiesce. Off you go, Marion.
Okay. Karma. You're talking about the karma.
Yeah, do the Dharma side. Let's start with Dharma.
Oh. But I was ready to do the karma side.
Let's do the karma side. I was thinking we should do the karma side, if that's okay with you.
No, Dharma is fine. Right here. I just need to check my own notes. It's a little bit vague. Quick writing. Dharma, of course, it means it's the practice itself, how you want to do it. So your breath, your meditation, your asanas, your movement. It's the only thing that is unchanging, basically. Given to you by your Creator. Your spirit must be present.
Your spirit is the only thing, your subtle body, your experience of who you are inside of you is the only thing that's unchanging.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. What else is the Dharma? What else? I mean, what other names are for the Dharma? What do they say the Dharma is?
Forgiveness.
Not the specific, all of it.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they also referred to the Buddha as being the Dharma.
Yeah.
And the Buddha's teachings was also the Dharma, because the Buddha was the gift, his teachings were the gift, and that you are a gift. You are the Dharma. When you connect to who you truly are, and that you're applying the teachings, you are the Dharma. You are the Buddha. You are the gift.
Yeah.
Okay, and then it's that list of things that you do,
Yeah.
and with your breath and meditation, asana, compassion, chanting, etc. What are you creating with those things? There's 3 things that you create. Do you remember what they are?
Did I write it down? Let me see. Creating with your Dharma.
I'll help you. So the three things that you're creating with your breath is you create space.
Bryan, let me just.
With your asana, you create space. You talk about increasing the space between your vertebrae. When
Yeah.
you're compassion, you create space between your judgments and lower heavy frequencies. When you're compassion and forgiveness, you're creating space in your mind, ease. So you create space with your Dharma, with all these practices. You also create lightness of breath, that you feel lighter. That in meditation you feel lighter, and you also can literally feel light entering your body. When you're doing your practice, your postures, you can feel lighter. You can feel the lightness of your body. You can come into class heavy and tired, and you can leave class lighter, physically, weight-wise, and energetically. Chanting, we create light and can feel light. Our arming, all of it. So it can create those two different kinds of lightness is the Dharma. And lastly, does anybody remember what the last one is? What's the last thing that we create? Go ahead, Anka.
Energy.
Energy. So we create energy in our body when we have a negative bias where it's automated. We also have we don't have to think about it. We also don't have to think about our breath. But you can create energy with your breath by when you actually do something with your breath, when you use it. You don't need to do it. It's automated. But you can choose, you can create energy with your breath, that pranayama. So when you start feeling the energy that is in the oxygen is in the breath that you breathe in, you can energize your body. So the energy yoga is Kundalini yoga. Anybody know anything about Kundalini? Go ahead.
I've done a lot of Kundalini.
What
It's a
can you
lot
say
of
about
chanting.
what can you say about energy and Kundalini?
Well, it's all about the energy, because you lock the energy after each posture. You lock it, you pull it up to your third eye, you hold it, you exhale.
Yes.
It's all about moving energy in your body.
Yes.
So yeah.
Tell me about the snake.
Oh, and the snake. I don't know enough. I just did it.
Okay. The snake is figuratively, there's a snake that's rolled up in the bottom by your bottom chakra. And you virtually wake the energy up. Remember when I told you that when you focus on your bottom chakra, it's kind of like when you put your tongue on a battery and you can kind of feel that little jolt. It kind of feels like that. And you're waking up the Kundalini, which is a snake. And the snake, once you wake it up, then you start, your chakras are spinning in different ways, alternating. So you wake up this snake and it actually weaves up as you waken each one of the chakras, and the energy comes out the top of your head. So the chanting does that, the locks do that, the breath does that. Everything is about increasing the energy in your body. That is not my right arm. That's not my insertion point, is not my right arm or my insertion point or my favorite place to create transformation. I do it through truth. I do it through alignment. I do it through clarity. And I get energy from those things as a symptom. Some people, everybody has a different insertion point of what their right arm is. So Kundalini is the energy yoga. It, for thousands of years, it was hidden. It was a mystery school. It was hidden knowledge. And it was hidden in the Sikh community. The Sikhs are the Indians that wear the turbans and grow their hair long. That's why they wear turbans. They're also the warriors that are often seen as the warriors in India. So they were creating energy. In the Second World War, they're the Gurkhas. So they had that particular knife that they carried, and they always wore their turbans, and they fought with the British in the Second World War. And so then I think it was Ram Dass, was the Westerner that discovered the secrets of Kundalini and then brought them to the world. He was chastised for it, but because it was supposed to be secret, but he brought that knowledge to the world. So Kundalini is energy. The problem with it is that people leak it out. So you create all this energy, and a lot of people, don't know what to do with it and channel it. They wear turbans because to ground themselves, so that they are creating a lot of energy. And a lot of if you meet some of the Kundalini people that wear turbans all the time, like the Westerners, there's a little bit of an imbalance sometimes. They're a little bit of an odd character, and it's the mythology is they're bringing in all this energy, but they're not channeling it. They're doing it more than they need to be, so they don't know how to use it all. That's more with the Westerners. I've never seen a Sikh look like that.
Yeah, I know like some teachers, they haven't cut their hair. They've all got long hair and they wear the turbans.
Yes.
They say it's also to protect, apparently your hair keeps a lot of energy in it as well, and that's why they never cut it.
Yes.
But yeah, it can get a bit freaky.
Yeah, there's some, but that's not the only place that they talk about hair. There was, again, in the Second World War, and a few other places, that they were using the native Indians in America as trackers. But they would force them to cut their hair off when they joined the army, and they noticed their ability and their intuition was greatly hampered by cutting their hair. So they're not the only ones. And there's a few other Aboriginal groups that the men won't cut their hair for exactly those reasons, is that it's a connection to them and the earth and their intuition. It's fascinating.
Wow, that's quite amazing. If I may share something, my eldest son is he's 21. He's incredibly intuitive. Like, we were super telepathic. He doesn't like his gifts that he's got, but his name is Samson as well, ironically.
Okay.
And he just never ever cutting his hair would have been like cutting into his flesh. He's always had, I mean, he's got this gorgeous, nothing like mine, these beautiful thick curls, and it just grows like crazy. And I mean, it was halfway down his back when he was little. You know, thank God he always went to alternative schools where he could be who he wanted to be.
Yay, Waldorf.
Yeah, he didn't enjoy the Waldorf at all, but he went to other schools. But which is quite amazing. And he still, to this day, has got his hair long. I think he's had it short once, and like people, they didn't recognize him. It was just his whole demeanor changed.
Yes. So they talked about that a lot. The Aboriginals that had the Aboriginals that had long hair for their whole lives, and then when they cut their hair, and then their ability to track went out the window. That was really quite significant for them. So some learning for the Westerners. And the Sikhs thought the same thing. That's why they don't cut their hair. And that it's all about creating the energy. And they were the warriors, not the only warrior class, but they were a warrior class in India.
Wow.
So there's the energy when we're talking about, so that's the Dharma, that's the gift, that's all the things that you need to do. Anytime that you're not feeling good about you, you go look at page 42. You're not feeling good about you, the answers are on page 42. Create space, light, and energy. And it's interesting, in what movie was that? Something about the galaxy. And the answer to the answer to the universe was 42. So there you go.
I know the movie. It's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Yes.
Yeah, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. That's exactly it. So space, if you want, what the Dharma will do for you is the Dharma is the gift, and that when you use the gifts and the teachings and the practices, then you become the gift if you're doing it. And that's creating space, light, and energy in your life when the negative bias and our circumstances with our negative bias start weighing us down. So we'll go to the top of the page, and it's about having a practice. So these Dharma things, you actually want to be having a practice, because if you don't have a practice, your negative bias is automated. So you will be at the beck and call of whatever your normal settling point, wherever your energy settles naturally, will be your highs and lows. And that the negative bias is automated. So being able to create light and changing the living the life that you want to lead and want to live is because you've created it. You've put the energy into having a practice. The idea is about the next line down is making growth decisions versus fear decisions. So the decision would be, I don't feel good. I'm going to go on to page 42 and do one of these things to be able to get in contact with myself again. So, and then you start feeling you. That's the growth decision there. On the karma side, you start actually noticing that everything on the karma side is fear. The fear decision is automated. So what about karma? Megan, what do you know about karma, and what have you noticed? What are the details? How do you apply it? What's the utility?
Firstly, the karma is all lies, so it's not true.
Yes.
And it's conditioning. So
yes.
How
your karma is your conditioning.
Yeah.
The society conditioned you, and you conditioned you.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it involves violence,
yes.
Fear, which is a big one, and lack.
And
shadow.
Fear is lack, and lack is fear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shadow.
What is the shadow?
If I had to think about shadow, being like negative about yourself or seeing yourself as darkness instead of light.
Yes. I'll add something to it, is that you're perfectly right. What I would add to it is the shadow is whatever is, it's in the shadows because you don't want to look at it. Okay. It's in the shadows because you're afraid of it. It's in the shadows because you would avoid it like the plague. Off you go.
Ego.
Okay. And then when I say ego, I'm really meaning fear and lack. But yes, it does come from your ego. There's a little voice in your head. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with them? What's wrong with it? And all the reasons why it won't work out. There's only 4 themes. You'll know when it's the ego fears.
Yeah. Patterns, so like negative thought patterns or actions, I suppose.
Yeah, patterns of action in your life or patterns of results. Yes. The same thing keeps happening.
Righteousness.
Yes. What do you mean by righteousness? What does that mean?
For me, it's like thinking in a rigid way. So you're always correct and not open to other people's
right. Righteousness is not only rigid, but also generally superior.
Yeah.
Right. I am right. Uh-huh.
Or judgment or pain.
Yes. Okay. And having a practice. So when do you go deal with your karma?
When?
Yep.
When you're feeling any of these things?
When you're, okay, you go deal with your karma when you have to, when you're forced to deal with it, when human beings learn in crises. So when you can't avoid it any longer, it will be, the world will, and the universe will force you that you can't run away from it anymore. And then you actually have to deal with it.
Very true.
And so you deal with it when you absolutely have to, when you're in crises. Is there any other time?
Not that I know of.
When you have an excess of light. So when you've got so much dharma going on and you're feeling so good about who you are, you take that little flashlight you created and you focus it on the shadow. And you start creating light where there's only darkness. The definition of darkness is absence of light. It isn't a thing. It's a not thing. So that's what you actually learn. The definition of darkness is absence of light. You focus light on it and you look at it consciously, and you're able to see the lie in it with a little bit of work. If you scare yourself, you just go back to light. You just go back to space and energy. Mm-hmm. And then you try and be as self-reflective as you can be. And if you can find the lies in the karma, in the conditioning, then you can you can free yourself from them. As long as you know it's a lie, then every time it comes up, you can go, it'll be a habit. The lie will come up and it'll say, oh my God, worry about this. And then you'll catch yourself and you go, I don't even believe in you. And then you go, and then you have to create an intervention. What's your new truth? And so that's how you actually deal with the shadow, is you create a new truth that is more aligned with who you truly are, and you replace the old truth, which is just a habit, an emotional habit and belief.
With breath, meditation, all those Dharma tools.
Yeah, that creates the energy that gives you the will and the power to go deal with the shadow. The shadow is being able to look at it and be able to see it for what it is, or test it for validity.
Cool.
Beautiful. Have you ever tested anything with your shadow? You thought something negative and then you went, is that true? Do I want to believe that?
Yeah, more so now that I'm aware of all of this.
Yeah, so you're even doing it.
Yeah.
And you realize it's so much less scary when you go, oh, it's my negative bias reflecting back to me what my fears are, what my beliefs are. That's it.
Yeah.
As soon as you know what that is, it's virtually an echo. It's an echo of your beliefs that's just making sure that you got this. Did you see that? Did you see that? Yeah, I see it. I got it. You pet it. Oh, Mia said last week, I didn't realize it till after the fact, when I talk about your rescue dog, and she said your stray dog, I didn't mean a rescue from the SPCA. I meant a rescue dog. You know when somebody gets trapped in the snow in Switzerland and you got to go dig them out? And it's the St. Bernard with a big keg under its neck? Well, that's your rescue dog is trying to protect you. And it gets excited. You know, you got this. And the more that you're afraid of whatever's out there, the more afraid it is. And that if you go, okay, I got this, boy, I got it, it's okay, then you actually calm it down. No, that's my mistake. I didn't even know I didn't think of rescue dog is an SPCA dog for most people. So
yeah.
That was my bad. But that actually helps you, because then you're going, oh, it's just trying to help me. My inner dialogue is just trying to protect you. It's your friend. It's there for a reason. It's not true. It's not real. It's not coming from God. It doesn't confirmation that there's something wrong with us. It's just saying, this is a fear that you have. Do you see what's going on? Yes, I do. Calm down. Sit beside me. I got this. And then it'll calm down. It's so much easier. It takes all the mystery out of all that nonsense. Okay. What else you got there, Megan? So I can interrupt you again?
That's all I've written down.
Okay. And so then talk about your creation and given light under the Dharma and your conditioning under karma. What are those two things?
So under Dharma, your creation, given light. I'm not the doer. Okay, well, your conditioning, that is.
Good job. Okay. Off you go. I can answer this one.
Yeah. So that's not real. It's an illusion. Yes. It's fear-based.
Yes.
And you can change it.
And it's your responsibility to do so.
Yeah.
It's your responsibility. It's your conditioning. It's yours to change. You can pick whichever lifetime you want to do it. The curriculum is the same. The timeline is yours.
Yeah. And then your creation given light, it's like already there.
Yes. It's your gifts. You didn't create your gifts. Creation gave you your gifts.
Yeah.
All the talents you have, for those of you who can sing, for those of you who can dance, that those of you that can teach, that those of you can draw, that those of you that, facilitate in every way, that's a gift that's been given to you. You discovered that about yourself and you liked it, and you can do it, and you can count on yourself to do it, and the world sees value in what you do. But you didn't create that gift. That gift was given to you. And when you do that, then you can actually, so that kind of points to the tree of knowledge, is that when you start realizing that creation created you as a perfect you already are something, The tree of knowledge is that when we start thinking, we create ourselves. Here's the person I want to be. This is who I want to be in this situation. This is the kind of person I want to be in that situation. And we make it up with our intellect. And that it's kind of the booby prize, because it's about 1,000,000 times less satisfying if you just got in touch and discovered what you truly are, the miracle that you are, the perfection that you are. And you don't lose anything. You get aligned. The more aligned you get with you, the more delicious that it gets, beyond your understanding and expectation when you're creating yourself. So you are not the doer. You did not create yourself. You didn't, all your gifts are been given to you. And then we be grateful and we be humble about what we've been given, and that it's up to us how we want to use those gifts. So that the Course in Miracles says the only difference between you and creation is creation created you, but you didn't create creation. So creation's always shining on you, and then you feel and discover what that is, and then you get to figure out how you want to express it. What is my artistry? How do I want to live my life? How do I want to use my gifts is completely yours. What you are is not yours. It was given to you. It wasn't created by you, but your gifts are yours. You get to use them. Is that
Bryan,
yes?
a question.
Marcia, I think.
Yes,
Ha.
a question.
Yep.
Before this explanation in the philosophy session,
Yes.
I always thought that karma was based around this, what goes around comes around, because
does.
you know that. So can you explain that within this context?
Yes. So if you are your dharma and you're the gift, and you know that you're perfect, and that you can trust in who you are, and you're not trusting in lack, you're trusting in abundance. If you are that, how much do you need to manipulate, steal, take from others, dominate, and win? Marcia?
Now I'm listening.
Did you get that? I'll say it again.
Yes. If
if you're on the dharma side, which is the gift, if you're having an experience, if your experience of yourself is your whole and complete, and that you can trust that you're going to get everything you want in your life, how much do you need to manipulate people and steal things?
Yeah, you won't need to.
Right. You only need to steal things and manipulate when you believe there's not enough, and that's what you have to do to get yours. You're not trusting in your gifts. You're not trusting in your value. There's a lack of resources and love and money. So I need to do what I have to do to take as much from everybody else as I possibly can.
Sorry. So I was going to say, like, dharma is like abundance.
Yes, perfection. It's a place of absolute abundance. There's no lack there. Karma is conditioning, and it's lack and fear based. So here's your karma, which is your conditioning, and now I believe that I'm not good enough, and there's a lack of everything, and now I need to manipulate and steal. So what am I putting out into the world, and how is that coming back? So if one of the laws of the universe is what you put out is what you get back. So what are you susceptible to? Well, first of all, I don't think I'm good enough, and I'm believing in lack. So I'm having that experience everywhere I go. I put that out in how I speak. I put that out in my expectations of how people are going to treat me. I take things from other people, which are they're going to not trust me. You can feel people when they walk up to you. You can go, I don't like that person. I don't like that energy. I don't want to be around them. So that's your karma that they move away. It's your karma that, that people aren't just coming to you in abundance and giving you what you want. Renee Watson, for example, is people love her and give her stuff. They give her opportunities and they love her just because that she's so kind and makes people feel good about who they are. And she really cares about what their experience is, more than most people do. So she has good karma in the sense that, well, I don't even talk about good karma. I talk about dharma. is she is a gift, and what she gets back is gifts. So you're absolutely right, is that a lot of people think that karma is this little negative Cupid that shoots you with an arrow in the bum when you behave badly. And it's not this entity, it's not this thing out there creating balance and punishing people. What it is that what you put out is what you get back. So if you're being a scoundrel that believes in fear, or if you just believe in fear, you're going to get that back. So what you put out is what you get back. There's not a third entity there. There's just you and the universe. How's that? Does that make it easier?
Yes. I think I didn't know about this concept of Dharma before, but I think it's the same principle as you're saying that applies to the Dharma, that one knows about the karma. What you put out is what you'll get back.
Yes.
So if you put out the light and those things, and that's what you'll get back.
Yes, you put out light and caring and kindness and
compassion,
you make it easy for people, yes, and compassion and forgiveness, then your life will reflect that. And when you really have people feel special about themselves naturally, if that's what you do, that's what they're going to give back. They're going to be appreciative of that. Okay. And then a lot of this is about accepting your journey. When we talk about the human condition, that you accept, your karma, you accept your negative thinking and the things that you're pulling to yourself and your journey of blind spots. So that's the dharmas. You accept the things that you can't see, and that's your responsibility. That's your conditioning. That's the stuff that you need to deal with. And lastly, is that in yoga, in Western yoga, yogis learn to dig deep to control their bodies. But then in the West, there's very little they do to master their minds. So our emphasis is your mind is, like we talk about Ashtanga. One of the limbs, of the 8 limbs, is the postures. And the other 7 are about mastering your mind and your connection, therefore your connection to all that is, so that you can live in bliss. That's just one model. There's lots of models. That's just one of them. It's just a particularly good one. So we want to start looking at being able to control our minds as well, be the master of our mind. And that control is usually bad in transformation, is that we don't want to control life. We don't want to control results. We don't want to control people, but you do want to control your mind. And what we mean by that is the negative bias, is being able to control what we focus on, being able to control what we believe, being able to align ourselves with our true beliefs. There's a level of a control in being able to manage your negative bias. Okay, we're 4 minutes after, and so we're going to end the session. And I'm thinking that Mariki is going to do a short meditation on the way out. If she's...
Okay, cool.
Yay.
I'm here. All right. So everyone can just close their eyes for a second. Sit up nice and tall. Lengthen through the crown of the head. Soften your shoulders slightly. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale to side out. Take 3 more breaths like that. Inhale. And exhale to side out. 2 more in your own time. Your next inhalation, just think about what we've learned tonight. Think about the Dharma, the karma. Try and set an intention for tomorrow or the next day, and how to incorporate these things that we've learned during the course of tonight for tomorrow. Try and see the situation and how you would be able to implement that. Creating that space and time in your mind, allowing yourself to breathe, allowing yourself to be. Take 4 deep breaths in through the nose, and we can exhale through the nose as well, channeling that energy throughout the spine, entire body. And take one last breath. And on your exhale, you can gently start blinking your eyes. And then welcome back to you.
Thank you very much, Mariki.
Thank you. That was lovely.
Very lovely. So for tomorrow, I think that's Mariki gave you a good idea to, for tomorrow, just make a reminder for yourself just to feel about space and light and energy. So let in some space into your mind, into your heart, into your lungs, between your vertebrae. Bring in some light, so feel lighter. Feel what it feels like to feel lighter, and bring a beam, a tunnel of light down into you, and energy. Feel the energy that's in you and increase that level just by intention. Right now, you can feel the energy in your midsection and just increase it. What would that feel like to increase that energy in your body? Even if it's only a couple degrees, and it might be a lot.
Bryan,
Yes, Kamishni?
so how can we create space? Like,
Space, you can sit up straight, create space in your bones. You can
okay,
create space in your mind by putting your focus onto experience. You can create space in that, just feeling lighter, feeling yourself in space, in the space that you're in the room.
okay,
How's that for a start?
all right.
Okay, good. So let's do that tomorrow. Thank you
Okay.
very much all for yet another day of yogic philosophy. And we'll see you tomorrow, and we'll talk a bit about space, light, and energy. Just a little bit of practice. So we're going to practice it a little bit. Having a practice matters. Thank you very much, all. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.